Live, Steve. You are live on the air. Would you like me to mute you? Send you away?
Send me away, please.
Calgon, send me away. Goodbye, Steve. All right. Now it should be there. All right, Mark. Everybody can get in, but Mark, that's good. Excuse me. All right. Looks like we got some new people in the audience. Hello to Laura and to Ryerk. Is that Ryan somebody? I used to know a Ryan Burke. Yeah, it's in the community. I wonder why Mark can't find it. It's at podfeet.com/live. All right, and it was, we do broadcast this to the community, so anybody who's in there. All right, I love it. Sandy is inviting Laura in and welcoming her. Sandy's new, so she knows what it's like to be the new kid on the block, but now we can't call you new girl now, because Sandy's new girl. Or boy, I guess. Could go either way. And so welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let me do a little test recording, make sure you guys can hear GarageBand okay, so if I can get a confirmation, that'd be great. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. And here's playback. Whoops, not of the right part, but here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. All right, in about 30 seconds, 45 seconds, you guys will hear that and tell me whether you heard it back. Steve, maybe you can let me know sooner. Playback is good. Oh, Kevin's getting it faster because he's getting it from the app. He's cheating. The app gets the audio faster than the Google Hangout does. Sandy and I'm a girl. Oh, yeah, Matt Quilter. That's right. That's right. We knew that. I knew that. I'm sorry, Sandy. Forgot that. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead. We got the crafts corner going on. We're all covered. Oh, we need to do roll call. So officially, we do have Donald and Steve and Brett, Kevin, Mike, Laura, Linda, Rose, Ryerk. Has Ryerk spoken up yet? And Sandy and another Steve and Switcher Mark seems to have made it in. All right. Let's go ahead and get the show started. Not as exciting as last week. I didn't get any champagne or anything. My lip is healed from last week from where I hit myself with the blowhorn when Steve surprised me by blowing his horn in my ear, so I have survived. We're lucky we have a show today at about 11:30, 12 o'clock today. Verizon just decided to shut off internet here. They sent me an email telling me that it was an outage, though, so that was nice. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, Kevin, whatever you just said. All right, Kirshen makes it in. Here we go. Wait, Switcher Mark, why are you here? Maybe you should start giving us an excuse when you're coming. I think that would be good. All right, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek popcast. That's because of Mac Pipple or whatever he just wrote back there. What did he write? That was Kevin's fault. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Saturday, September 14th, 2014, and this is show number 501. I was thinking about all the people saying another 500 episodes, and it occurred to me that, when you have a few number of episodes, you get excited about, 50 or 100 or 200. When you have 500, does that mean I don't get to celebrate until it's 1,000? Probably not. I mean, 600? What's 600? Anyway, we'll have 10 years coming up soon, so maybe we'll celebrate that. Well, Bart is going to be back on Chit Chat Across the Pond this week because we really wanted to finish what we started with the whole IP subnet thing last week. Two reasons I bring it up at the top of the show. First is that Bart regrets that when I asked in the middle of it, you want to pause to gather your thoughts? He declined that invitation. He regrets it because he feels his explanation got a bit tangly. He will be rectifying that by doing a quick run-through of what we learned last week to clarify things. Secondly, I want to tell you up front that while this was the heaviest, most difficult thing Bart has ever tried to explain to me, I stuck with it, and in the end, I did actually understand it. But you should have seen my face. Luckily, he couldn't. When he was in the middle of it, I'm just like, what are you even talking about during parts of it? I also want to give you motivation to stay with it, too. So I'm going to tell you what he told me near the end of the discussion. And that's the problem that all of this math will solve for you. because he didn't really give us a motivation why we need to know this stuff. You'll hear me holler at him during the show that he should have told me that up front. Anyway, here's the scenario. You or someone you know has a network set up, and some of the devices seem to be able to do things that others can't. They can all talk to the internet, but one computer can, say, see a printer, and the other one can't. One can share to the Apple TV, but the other one can't. If you learn what Bart's teaching here and follow him through to teaching us how to use his cool new IP subnet calculator that he built, and even some of the logic that he teaches you, then you might be able to figure out what's wrong, or at the very least eliminate some possible culprits. That's a bit of a tease because there's way more to it than that, but hopefully you'll be motivated to buckle down and make it all the way through. Hey, if I can follow along, you can do it. I would like to kick us off here by playing a review. Actually, that's not a big enough pause. Let's go ahead and do a stop there. And I have a fuzzy thing on my glasses, making it really hard to see. Or maybe the fuzzy thing's on my contacts. Do you guys know I wear contacts and glasses to be able to see? Getting old is tough. I got something in my eye. One of them's got something on them, I can tell you that for sure. Ooh, snow. I almost had to wear pants earlier. Yep, we're still in shorts here. Save as. Forgot to save as when I started. Hey, where's Dorothy? Her mother-in-law's in town, and they're doing their crazy baking fools, but it's fine because Steve and I are the recipients of that crazy fun cooking. We get cookies all the time, so that's fun. All right. Ooh, Sandy's making pizza with truffle oil. Yum. Can't wait for episode 905. Refers to a Who song. Well, I won't get it. Oh, there's an actual link to Shampipple. I thought that was a Mipples reference. All right, here we go. Well, I'd like to kick off the show here by playing a review from first-time contributor Jeffrey from New Hampshire on an app called iFlix for OS X. I've been torturing Jeff for weeks by pushing the review out week after week. I keep saying, I promise it'll be on next week. But I'm glad I finally made room for it in this week's show. In the middle of the review, you're going to be hearing someone talking. I was confused at first until I realized that Jeff was using the VoiceOver screen reader on the Mac as he's blind. It's actually a great representation of how VoiceOver works and how quickly people like Jeff listen to the voice speaking the menus. The review of the application's, of course, fantastic too, but I just want to let you know what that was so you don't get confused like I was. Okay, enough preamble. Let's hear Jeff's review. I had no idea what Jeff was talking about when he started. I kept hearing, what is that noise? Actually, no, I want to make space for that first. We're going to make two tracks, and we'll make this Jeff. And we'll make this one George. Oops. Well, I didn't know you could do that. I just hit enter and I got back to the front. My cursor came back to the front. Huh. Do you know that if you hit enter on GarageBand, your cursor goes all the way to the front of the track? I didn't know that. Steve made me put Mipples away for a while. Maybe he'll come back for the 10-year episode. I should have known that. I messed this up. Wiretap. I knew better than that. I changed the format of Jeffrey's file. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I want to open this one, don't I? Is it the output one? Yeah, that's the good one. Okay, I want to change this to 16-bit because you can't put 32-bit AIFFs in GarageBand. They have to be 16. No. And then I hate it when it does that. It changes it to AIFC when you change it to 32-bit. No, it's supposed to be AIFF. 16-bit. Now stay still. AIFF. There you go. Now stick. Stay. Okay. All right, that one. Let's try this one. Jeff goes here. Let's see. So Brett and Steve are talking about the barbecue in, is it June or July? June 20th, I think, in Chicago. I helped him, did some work today to set up a Google for him to start taking registrations, but I haven't heard back from him. So I don't think yet that that they've got a way for him to do reservations. Now, let's see. Kevin is complaining it's Father's Day. Well, Father's Day means Father gets to do what he wants to do. You have never made it to Macworld. Now you only have to come halfway across the country for everybody to meet up with you. Come on, Kevin. It's Father's Day. You should be able to go for that. Wedding anniversary. It's your wedding anniversary, too. Come on, one time. I do not want to hear any excuses from you. That is just darn silly. Oh, yeah, bring the whole family. Duh. If I don't get to meet the kids. Okay, enough preamble. Let's hear Jeff's review.
Hi, Miss Allison and the NosillaCastaways. This is Jeff from New Hampshire, and here's my review of iFlix. The problem to be solved is if you download movies or TV shows from another source besides the iTunes store, they get put into iTunes as home videos, and they have no descriptions. Well, iFlix, which is available in the Mac App Store, comes to the rescue. First, before you start, if you're doing like a...
Actually, I'm going to cut that a little bit there. I did a little bit of trimming on his stuff. Let's see. Go like to there. I think that would be better. Ah! I forget which tool I'm in. The keystroke I just did would have done a nice delete if it had been in ScreenFlow. Love the ScreenFlow audio editor. Here we go.
Mac App Store comes to the rescue. First, before you start, if you're doing like a series... I'm
going to cut that a little bit more. Zoom in. Whoops. I want to zoom in on this one. Yeah, I think right. We'll take this guy and touch him up. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. It's fascinating, trust me.
Comes to the rescue. First, before you start, if you're doing like a series, season of TV shows,
Finder,
you should have it set up so it's like the name of the show, and then season 1, it's a bolded title, and then the shows, each episode is 01, 02, 03. Otherwise, if there's extra information in there, iFlix gets confused.
iFlix.
So here we go with iFlix.
iFlix. Toolbar. Downloads.
At the top, there's a toolbar.
iTunes compatible.
And the first one's preset, which I have iTunes compatible.
Downloads. Destination.
And destination is the second one, which I have downloads.
Stop image browser. Empty.
Okay, I am going to keep the show moving, so I am not going to let you listen to the whole thing, but I am going to go through the rest of this. We'll keep going. All right, here we go. Yeah, 12 hours, that's nothing for you. You can do that. I can't. All right, let's keep going.
Alex is the one to get, and it works well. And I hope you like this review.
Hey, thanks, Jeffrey. That was fantastic. I got to say, this is exactly the problem that Honda Bob wrote to me about one time. It was driving him crazy that he would create rip movies, and when he brought them in, they were always called home movies. And he asked me a long time ago what the solution was. Now, there's one trick here. Honda Bob is considering getting a Macintosh. Maybe this will push him over the edge because he's always been a Windows user, and he's always asking me for help, but I don't know how to help him. So I really hope he'll be able to switch to the Mac, and then he can use iFlix. Thanks a lot, Jeffrey. Hope you do some more reviews. Wait, what? Oh. Look at my own notes, not understanding them. That's funny. All right. Yay. Hi, Ginger. So, hooked up to our TV, we've got a TiVo, a Mac Mini, an Apple TV, a Roku, and a Chromecast. But when Donald Byrd tipped me off that the Fire TV stick was coming out, and for 2 days, Prime members could get it for $20, normally $39, I immediately had Steve check to see if we had any open HDMI ports left on our receiver. Luckily, we got a new receiver recently that has 8 ports, so I think we had 1 or 2 left. In the search for the holy grail of TV watching, we added the Fire TV stick to our arsenal when it arrived. Now, what problem do I hope to have the Fire TV Stick solve for us? Well, we already get Netflix on every device we own. I mean, I'm pretty sure our toaster gets it. We get Amazon Video on the Roku, and that works really, really well. We haven't done the Plex thing yet to play our movies, but a few of our devices will do that when I get around to it. The Apple TV is great for renting movies and watching the keynotes, and we use AirPlay every single day to fling video podcasts to the TV, but I hate that little remote with a passion, and the Apple TV doesn't get Amazon. I love the remote for the Roku. It fits so nicely in my hand, and it's much easier to turn on subtitles than it is on the Apple TV. Unfortunately, it shows me what I've watched on Netflix in the reverse order of the Apple TV, so I get kind of confused because we switch back and forth between the two. I don't do much but Netflix and Amazon with it, but the experience is good with the Roku. The Chromecast is more of a novelty item. When I do launch it, I get confused looking for the remote until I remember there is no remote for the Chromecast. For us, it's a lot like AirPlay, but harder to figure out, so we don't use the Chromecast very often. When the Fire TV arrived, it was very nicely packaged. It comes with a remote that looks about halfway between the size of an Apple TV and a Roku. Not as comfortable as a Roku, but way better than the Apple TV. Has the same ring for forward and back and select as the Apple TV, a back button, home button, play, fast forward, and back buttons. I should say fast forward and fast back buttons. It also has a sixth button that looks like the hamburger icon in iOS apps, you know, the three little horizontal lines. Well, for extra money, you can buy the fancy remote for the Fire TV Stick that lets you use the voice control to search. Or there's an Android app that will allow you to do it, and they claim iOS app coming soon that will let you do the voice search. I wasn't interested in spending extra money for that voice control remote, especially since it only searches within the Amazon app, nothing else. A lot of people won't tell you that. They think that the search goes across everything that you've got on it, like Netflix. No, it only shows you what's on the Amazon app. The stick is about the length of my fingers and about an inch wide. We were immediately worried it would be too wide to jam into the HDMI ports because it would hit the connectors on either side. Luckily, Amazon includes an HDMI extender cable that makes it fit in perfectly. It also comes with a very nicely packaged power plug and a good long USB cable. That means the Fire TV Stick, like the Chromecast, requires power, which is a bummer. Speaking of power, they even included 2 AA batteries for the remote. The USB power cable sticks out of the side of the Fire TV Stick, which at first struck me as a bit odd because it makes kind of a clunky looking pile of stuff when you get it all put together. But then I realized that the limiting space factor for many units is the space behind a device, so if the power comes out the side instead of the back, that could be an advantage. It's a funny looking little mess when you got all the pieces put together though. When we plugged it in, and after fighting with the receiver remote to try and figure out which input we'd selected, you sit there going, which one of these is it, and flipping through until you figure out which one lights up the TV. Anyway, once we were done fighting with the receiver, we were greeted with an on-screen guide to set up Wi-Fi. I expected typing to be as annoying with the ring on the Fire TV Stick remote as it is on the TiVo and Apple TV and Roku, but it had one rather nice tiny little feature. In general, it was as annoying, but you know how you can't go flying across the virtual keyboard, like just hold it down, because it'll actually go past the keyboard and highlight something else like done on the right or the back or the left? With the Fire TV Stick, it stops at the end of the row of letters. I know it's small, but it made me really happy. Anyway, it next got to a screen that said connecting to the network for a little bit. Then it decided to check for updates, which gave me time to go pour another refreshing beverage. After that, though, it asked me if I wanted to continue as Allison Sheridan. Ever since my first Kindle Reader purchase, it's always freaked me out when Amazon does that. Somehow they've connected my purchase order to the device itself. It's kind of freaky. On the other hand, it's super convenient because I didn't have to enter any passwords with that annoying little remote. On the third hand, if you buy a Fire TV Stick as a gift or any Amazon Direct product like this, you might want to check into how to not have the receiver have access to your account. I wonder if their system is clever enough to recognize if you've tapped the box that says, "This is a gift." Anyway, next in the interface comes up a nice little cartoon man. He gave us a brief introduction to the Fire TV Stick. I know it's dumb and I know it's cheesy, but it did actually make me feel more comfortable with the interface. He even showed us how to push the home and back buttons on the remote. He told us about what channels we could watch, and get this, he said it comes with Netflix before he said it comes with Amazon Prime Videos. He even said shows like House of Cards on Netflix. like I said, it was a nice little introduction. The interface on the Fire TV stick is very clean. It's a dark theme with a list of things you can go through on the left. You have home, Prime Video, movies, TV apps, games, that kind of thing on the left. The selected item is bright yellow while everything else is a very muted gray. To the right, you get nice big thumbnails of the shows and channels. Here's what I noticed the most about the interface. It got out of our way. Very quickly we thought, hey, there's Orphan Black. We need to watch another episode. We fast forwarded easily. We were able to back up 10 seconds with one button click. We went forward easily. We even found subtitles quite easily. Now remember that little hamburger button? That brings up to options like subtitles and to jump to the next episode, which we also used. When we were done watching Orphan Black, which is an amazing show, by the way, we saw Outer Limits and remembered, hey, we still have a lot of those left to watch, and we moved on. We watched 3 shows and then suddenly remembered we were testing a new device. We had no confusion with how to use the Fire TV stick, and it worked really, really well. Now, this is a first look, so the proof will be which remote we reach for in the future when we want to watch some non-Apple specific content. But I have to say, for day one, the Fire TV stick from Amazon was awesome. Is there any reason to use the Fire TV stick if you don't have Prime? Yeah, they do have other apps, Sandy. That's true. I live by Amazon Prime. We hadn't watched a lot of movies, but since I did the review, we actually watched, let's see, I watched Girl on Fire? No. Whatever, the Mockingjay one. Why am I not being able to remember? You guys, somebody will yell out the name of the show I'm talking about, the movie, the second movie. So, wait. Nope. George isn't next. Donald Burr is next. Donald Burr of podcast. Wait. I didn't make him a... He can't come up yet. He doesn't have a... Whoops. He does not have a track yet. And Donald comes in here. I always forget that you guys can't see what I'm doing anymore. That's a shame. I think it was more interesting when you could see that, but I guess the ads made it not worth it. The lack of ads. Don't use enough of the services. So you're not a big spender on Amazon for content. But I have to say, for day one, the Fire TV stick from Amazon was awesome.
Hey there, Elson. Donald from Talking About Podcast, here with a review of the Epson LabelWorks LW600P app-enabled portable label printer. Of course, we start with a problem to be solved. This one may seem pretty obvious. To get organized. Okay, I guess maybe I need to be a little more specific. If you're like me, you've got a ton of gadgets, camera stuff, video stuff, computer stuff, little handheld things. And each of these probably comes with some sort of charger or another. The problem is that a lot of them have very similar looking plugs, but very different voltages, and they don't mix and match very well. So why not label which cords go with which devices? Or let's say that you have a desk full of different cables of different types, big rat's nest mess, and you want to get that somewhat organized. So you get one of those little plastic file drawer thingies, but you want to label the drawers just so that you can tell which kind of cable is where, don't you? Or maybe you have a lot of paper files. Yes, believe it or not, some of us still have to keep paper files. So you'd want to put the various documents of various types into file folders and label what they are, right? The solution to all of the above is a label printer. The problem, though, is they really suck. They have these lousy little rubbery keyboards. They have these little tiny LCD displays, and they're not very versatile. Enter the Epson LabelWorks app-enabled label printer. This is a little device, about 6 by 5 by 2 inches. It has a large door on the side of the machine where you load in the label tape cartridges. It has a window on both the side of the device as well as the front of the device that lets you see what type of labels that you have loaded. Pretty handy. And on the rear, there are connections for both power and USB. But looking at this device, you'll notice something that's conspicuously absent. There's no keyboard and no display. That's because this device is app-enabled. You can design and print your labels using a PC or Mac, as well as an iOS or Android device. With this device, you can print on various types of labels anywhere from 1/4 inch to 1 inch wide. You can print over USB from a Windows machine or a Mac. And finally, you can print from iOS and Android devices over Bluetooth. Yes, this printer actually has Bluetooth built in. Pretty cool. Using the app, you can print both text, graphics, as well as various formats of barcodes. You can also mix text and graphics and barcodes. You have a wide variety of text styles, single line, multi-line, variable font and font sizes, and you can even add borders and such. The pros of this device are that it has a wide variety of label types that you can print on. Standard stick-on labels, extra strong adhesive labels, cable wrap labels, even iron-on transfer labels. There's also different colors of labels, including clear. The printer knows what kind of label cartridge is installed. That way, you can't accidentally print a design that requires a wider label on a narrow one. The printer can be powered either by AC adapter, which is included, or via batteries, 6 AA batteries to be precise. The app also comes with a lot of standard template labels. The app lets you customize a whole bunch of things about your labels. You can use images either from their built-in clip art library or from your own photo library. And finally, this thing has excellent build quality. Feels very solid and well built. There are a few cons, however. The cartridges cannot be hot swapped. Kind of a pain. The app, while pretty good, can get a bit wonky at times. First of all, it's not iPhone 6 or 6 Plus optimized. The app also sometimes gets into a mode where all the menu choices disappears and it just acts really strange and bizarre. The app also very occasionally doesn't detect the printer when it's connected. In all cases, I was able to get the app to behave itself again by force quitting and relaunching it. And finally, the UI is a bit clunky and strangely organized, but this is a bit of a minor gripe because otherwise the app works pretty good. And I'm sure they'll address most, if not all, of the little glitches in future updates to the app. Finally, there's the price of the unit, $100, which may seem a bit steep, but when you compare it to professional office-grade label printers, which usually run $50 to $70 or so, the price is reasonable given the extra features and the versatility of this device. The label cartridges themselves are also seem a bit on the pricey side, about $25 a pop, but they do last a really long time. This is a great, solidly built, and versatile unit that makes creating really nice-looking labels a snap. The app, while a bit wonky sometimes, still works reasonably well. Now, I mentioned a few use cases at the beginning of this review, but when you think about it, there are quite a few more. You can print pretty nice-looking luggage tags. You can print labels to stick to your devices, that say, if found, please return to, so-and-so. If you're trying to put together a conference or a seminar on the cheap, you can use this to print pretty good-looking name badges. Just print a person's name and contact information, stick it to a piece of cardboard, stick it in a badge holder, and you're good to go. If you own a small retail store, now you can print barcodes for all your products. That way, people can scan them at your, Square cash register, and boom, instant checkout system. And of course, you can print QR codes to advertise your band or your club or your podcast or whatever it is you're trying to advertise, and stick it to all of your promotional materials. Really, the sky's the limit when it comes to use cases for this printer. Check it out at the link that Allison will put in the show notes. And finally, be sure and check out otakunopodcast.com if you're at all curious about Japanese animation, anime, comics, manga, culture, food, travel, and so on. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next time.
Whew, I made it away and back. I had to go get my iPad to answer Sandy's question on, we're doing a little book club thing here in the background. Anyway, The Husband's Secret. It's really good. Like I said, I like a book where you don't know where it's going. Anyway, where was I? Oh, I was recording a show. Here we go. Let's see. I might do a couple of things here.
Culture, food, travel, and so on. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks, Donald. This thing looks really cool. Steve and I love labeling things. I think we got it from his father. He labels absolutely everything. I took a look at the label costs on the Epson, and it turns out they aren't always as high as you said. The 1-inch tape is listed at $24, but the 3/4-inch tape is only $14. Then again, if you want those fancy cable wrap tapes, they're going to set you back $28. So you do have to make sure you're getting the tape that you need for the price that you're willing to pay. Donald mentioned that the tapes last forever, so I looked at the specs, and it turns out these tapes are 30 feet long. Let's say you use 2 inches of tape, which is a lot for a single label. That would be 180 labels you could get out of one cartridge. You'd have one on the cat by then if you had to make that many labels. I wanted to point out that in case the idea of this sounded cool to someone, I got the wrong cadence to the wrong accent on the syllable. I wanted to point. Okay. I wanted to point that out in case the idea of this sounded cool to someone, but they were put off by the high price of the tapes. And it does come with a tape, by the way. I also asked Donald to elaborate on what did you mean when you said the tapes aren't hot swappable. He just means you have to power the unit down to pull out the tapes. Now, the reason that's more of a pain than it sounds is that you lose Bluetooth connectivity when you power it down, and we know how janky Bluetooth is. Anyway, Donald, I think this sounds like a very cool tool. Well, hey, I'm going to make a plea to you guys right now. The holidays are going to get a little bit tricky. I got to check the dates here, but it seems to me that Christmas is on a Thursday, but I'm going out of town on the 23rd, won't be back till the 28th. It's going to be really, really tricky for me to get the show done on the 28th. I will get the show done. It's going to be really, really close. In fact, live show might be in danger on that day. But anyway, I will get it done. But if you guys have reviews that you'd like to send in, I would really, really like it. I was really tempted to save these user reviews from this week, again, till the holidays, but I figured the 3 guys would kill me if I did that, so I didn't. So I went ahead and played them. But if you have reviews that you've been meaning to do, I would love it if you send them in really soon. This coming week's going to be a little bit tight, but the week after it's going to be really tight. So if we don't want like a 6-minute show, it would be awesome if you guys could help me out. So send in your reviews. And let's see, I'm going to tell everyone that Kirshen said she's going to do one, so send them in if you can. Well, remember last week I promised that, okay, wait a minute, Steve just gave me a really good idea. Thank you, Steve, good idea. Well, since we're interrupting the show here anyway with random things, remember I mentioned a while ago to use the Amazon affiliate link for your holiday shopping? That is a big way that the show gets funded. So if you can remember to go to podfeet.com, just use the little search box on podfeet.com on the Amazon link. If you don't see the Amazon logo, by the way, that means you've got flash block or ad block turned on. So turn that off for a second, go there, click on the button, then you can turn it back on again when you're done. But anyway, if you do go to that link and do your search from there, everything you buy will send a very small percentage back to the show. So customer service announcement there ended. Well, remember last week I promised that I'd get my domains transferred over to our newest sponsor, Hover? Well, I'm going to have to welch on that promise, but it's actually an even better story of why to register your domains with Hover. Let me back up a little bit and explain what a domain actually is to the uninitiated. Whenever you create a website, you have to have several pieces put in place. The most important piece is to buy a hosting plan from someone so that your files actually live on a server somewhere on the internet. Your content, right, that shows on screen. There's about a gazillion hosting companies out there, and many are quite good. So now you've got your website up there on a server, but how do people get to it? Well, they get to it by typing in your domain name, like podfeet.com. In order to use a name like podfeet.com, you have to rent it from a domain registrar, and there aren't that many of those. I say rent, by the way, because if you don't pay your yearly fee, or you can pay multiple years in advance, someone else can start renting it and you lose the name. Okay, so I have my domain, podfeet.com, with these other guys, but I want to move it over to Hover, and I promised you I would get it done by today. Well, with the other guys, they charge you extra to have your home address be private. And let that sink in a little bit. If you don't pay them extra money, your home address is on the internet associated with your account. If you've ever flown in Europe, it's like when you book a flight on Ryanair for something like $12, but then they charge you extra because they say, oh, you wanted a seat, and oxygen, and to get off the plane later? Oh yeah, those are extra charges. This hiding of your personal information is called domain privacy. In order to move my domain from the other guys to Hover, I have to temporarily turn off domain privacy. But guess what? The other guys farmed this service out to a third party called Domains by Proxy. Okay, fine. How do I get into Domains by Proxy? Well, according to my current domain company, they sent me the login information to get in Domains by Proxy on November 4th, 2006. Now, I actually do have my email on one of my accounts back to November 4th, 2006, and I checked it, and I have a nice email from New York Linda, who's in the chat room right now, and I think one from my daughter, but I do not have any email from this other company giving me my Domains by Proxy account. So I tell the other company, okay, reset my account. Nope, we can't do that. You have to talk to Domains by Proxy. Guess what? I can't get into Domains by Proxy because I don't even know my account number, and these people won't give it to me. They say they don't have it. I don't know what email account I was using 8 years ago, other than the only one I do still have. So, of course, it can't be Allison@podfeet.com the way you normally write to me because I didn't have podfeet.com yet, so I couldn't have been using Allison@podfeet.com. I only know one other address I've ever used that I can remember. Anyway, the other guys told me that the only way I could get into my login account or get my login account changed to a current email address was to email a copy of my driver's license or passport to Domains by Proxy. This is a company I've never heard of before, right? And I'm going to send them my personally identifiable information. They also told me it would take 24 hours for these guys to get back to me. Well, it's been more than 24 hours, and I'm still waiting, and I'm still checking my spam filter. The good news is that my new little friend Mark from Hover called me because I had whined in an email to them about this malarkey, and he was very sympathetic and told me in no uncertain terms that when I finally escape the clutches of my previous domain name provider, Hover will not have a third party manage my domain privacy. They handle it in-house. So do you see why choosing the right domain hosting company is critical to your sanity? Stay tuned. I'm sure by next week I'll be happy and cozy over at Hover. If the other guys let me go, that is. In the meantime, while you wait for the end of my saga, head on over to hover.com and use the coupon code PODFEET12, or just click on the big Hover logo in the right sidebar to get 10% off of your domain hosting. Unfreaking believable. I was so angry last night. I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. And I still don't have it, so that's nice. Oh yeah, the elephant incident. Kirshen's probably going to explain it, Sandy, but yeah, the president of Hover took a picture of himself standing on top of an elephant he'd killed. He thought it was cool. All right, next up is George from Tulsa. Oh man, this can be a long show. How long is Chit Chat? Jeez, better go check that. That's why I wanted to move one of the... I can't believe I have all these recordings now and I need them next week. So, Kirshen, you're going to do it, right? Wait, where's Chit Chat? That's the wrong Chit Chat. Okay. Hang on a second. Let me find Chit Chat. I promised George I would post his today, though. Somebody will come through for me, right? I think that's Chit Chat. Nope. There. Oh, no, you're already there. There? And that, it's an hour and 5 minutes. Well, it's going to be a long show, guys. CCATP underscore 20, whoops, underscore 2014 underscore 12 underscore 14. There we go. I know George is going to be a little quiet, but I'm not going to worry about messing with it because all that time I messed with it last week, it got all messed up when I slid everything, all those things, I changed all those levels, and it didn't end up mattering. Everything sounded fine. In the right sidebar to get 10% off of your domain hosting.
George from Tulsa here to give you a brief overview of 3 Android devices I recently purchased. The NVIDIA Shield tablet is a serious gaming machine and showpiece for NVIDIA.
Oh, Steve's been chatting to me and I've been missing it. Okay, Steve's been chatting to me and I've been missing it. I like to respond to him. Haven't heard George in a while, yeah. Well, maybe I'll pump it up just for you guys, but it doesn't matter because Levelator's going to fix it anyway. Get 10% off of your domain hosting.
George from Tulsa here to give you a brief overview of 3 Android devices I recently purchased. The NVIDIA Shield tablet is a serious gaming machine and showpiece for NVIDIA's connected gaming network. It's also the fastest Android tablet on the market today, surpassing even Google's flagship Nexus 9. I'm not a gamer, think Atari 2600, and bought the 32 gigabyte LTE Shield to connect my camera card, copy off Olympus format RAW files, and edit them using the Android app PhotoMate R2. I hadn't even installed Portal and the Half-Life series NVIDIA promoted as draws to buy the Shield. But on Thanksgiving Day, my visiting younger generation saw the Shield and begged, then disappeared into Gameland. The Shield's form factor is much like the familiar Nexus 7, just a bit bigger. It offers a 1920 by 1200 screen, dual front-facing stereo speakers, and even a subwoofer. Leave your Bluetooth at home. There's a stylus and apps that use it. My daughter, the art school graduate, reports the stylus works pretty well, but isn't a threat to replace her Wacom Cintiq Android tablet. I upgraded my Shield to Android 5 Lollipop before setting it.
All right, I am going to tease you guys, and man, this could be a long show. It's going to be an hour and 37 minutes if I don't do another ad, but I'm going to do another ad. Too late.
Seems there's always something on fire sale this holiday season.
All right, George, nice pun. So glad to hear from you again. Steve was pointing out in the live chat that we haven't heard a review from you in a long time. And I also appreciate you doing the review twice. George had done it, but since I delayed it, actually wrecked some of the pricing and stuff he was talking about. So very nice that you did it twice. Great show notes, great links. Everything's fantastic. Really appreciate you doing that, George. Looks like some pretty cool stuff out there. I love how many choices we have. Remember last week when Barry invited all of us to come to a barbecue at his house this coming summer in Chicago? I talked to him offline, and he's actually serious about this. I suggested that in addition to his website for the event, he should have a registration form. I offered to help him create it using Google Forms. He sounded interested and was happy to have the help. Then I realized I shouldn't just fish for him, I should teach the man to fish. How do you think I did that? Well, of course, I flipped open my trusty Clarify. I took screenshots as I created the forms for him, and it was only a matter of adding a little bit of text here and there, some outlining boxes, and a few arrows. I had a tutorial form that I knew he could follow. I probably spent 10 minutes making sure I'd have the good screenshots and adding all the annotations so that I'd have the nice document form that I could send on to him. If you want to help others and make them stop badgering you with questions when they forget what you told them, go over to clarify-it.com and check out the free trial of Clarify. You can buy it there, or you can get it from the Mac App Store if you'd prefer. Stay tuned here for more information on Barry's Mac Barbecue. Hope to see you in Chicago, even if you do have a 3-month-old baby at that time. And Kevin, I don't want to hear any whining about being a Father's Day. It's Father's Day. That's what you should get to do, is come to Barry's Barbecue. There you go. Now you have to come. Let's see. We should probably do some music. Kevin, cover your ears. Laura, we always tell Kevin to cover his ears because if I accidentally, actually Sandy may not have ever heard this, you guys can't see it, but I'm going to show you guys right now. If I do, let me share GarageBand so you can see what I'm doing here. So in the bottom right over here, you can see this is where the jingles are. And I'm going to grab 44th Street Short, and I'm going to drag it up. Well, that's the wrong track, but I'm going to close that. But if I were to simply tap that, it's going to come in at about 8 times the volume of my voice right now. And one time I did that, and Kevin, one of his ears fell off, and it got really ugly. So ever since then, I have to warn Kevin to take his ears off before he hit play. So Mike, could you kick Kevin under the table and tell him he can put his ears back on? That way we can keep things moving here. Okay, there is a way to make this track shorter or disappear, and I can never remember. Is that it? There we go. Okay, so I need to move that just for the moment. And we're going to pull that guy in here, and then we're going to pull Chit Chat up here. Put Chit Chat about right there. I personally think it's more interesting to watch GarageBand than it is to watch me, but that's me. Let's see how that sounds. It's Father's Day. That's what you should get to do, is come to Barry's Barbecue. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Chit Chat Across the Pond, and Bart Bouchatz has agreed to come back, and that's the part where Steve tells me that the symbols took too long. So I've got to increase the size and look at this. So Chit Chat's supposed to come right at that decrescendo right there. So I'm going to pull that over there, and we'll try it again. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Chit Chat Across the Pond, and Bart... Shoot, I didn't mean to hit back. I meant to hit play. Yeah, I do sound kind of compressed. Why do I sound compressed? Well, it's that time of the week. Too soon? Let's see. Well, it's that time. Okay, a little bit later. Move them out a little bit. Steve's very picky about the symbols. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Chit Chat Across the Pond, and Bart Bouchatz has agreed to come back and pick up where we left off in Taming the Terminal Part 25 of N IP Subnets, because we didn't want to let much time go between these two segments because they were supposed to be one segment, but it was running long, so maybe it made it one or made it two. So anyway, Bart, you're back. Hello.
And it's not so much continuing as I think we're going to go back to the start. There was a great moment there where you actually said, "Do you want to pause for a minute?" And I went, "No."
Gather your thoughts.
Yeah, and I should have gone, "Yes."
I think it's unusual for you to have ever lost your way, so you didn't recognize it, because it's probably the first time I've ever heard you just stop. And when you stopped, I was like, okay, maybe he needs to figure out where he's going.
Yeah, no, basically the problem was I tried to do too much in one weekend last weekend. Having run after steam trains all weekend, I then went and tried to write and record this, and my brain obviously wasn't up to it. Because I'd managed to write my mistake into my show notes.
Oh!
So I derailed myself.
Well, that's good. Well, I could use a refresher on what we went over last week. Okay. Hour and 38. Actually, let's go ahead. Why is here the weird sound? Google Plus sounds sometimes distorted in the Hangout, but the recording's okay. Yeah, okay, well, that's fine then. Okay, let's see. Steve is talking to me in... Oh, that's a good idea, Steve. I do have the link to the barbecue, but I can't remember what it is. I think it's Mac BBQ, but I'm not sure, Steve. That's why I didn't say it out loud, because I was too lazy to look it up when I was doing the recording. So I don't remember. All right, here we go. What? What's going on?
And all usual business will resume.
Okay, here we go. We just didn't cut the thing off in time. Here we go. All right,
Until next time, when there will be security light and all usual business will resume. Happy computing.
All right. Well, we made it through. I'm glad you made it through to this end. I do want to remind you to buy Slough's song, If Every Day Were Christmas, in the iTunes store. It is so fantastic. Buy it. Buy it for your friends. It's only $1. Best thing ever. I just love it. I'm actually going to buy it for some friends of mine, two of whom are actually in the chat room right now. You two people know who you are. Anyway, if you... blah, blah, blah. Stop ad-libbing. See, I always mess up when I ad-lib. I don't know how people ad-lib like that. Anyway, that's going to wind us up for this week. Many thanks to our sponsor for helping pay the bills, the makers of Clarify over at clarify-it.com, and Hover for your domain hosting over at hover.com. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com. Follow me on Twitter and app.net @podfeet. Check out the NosillaCast Google Plus community too. I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite resources. A lot of stuff going on in there, a lot of people helping each other, people helping me, people showing off. We even got a segment called NosillaCast Ways Show Off, and people have a lot of fun kind of, plugging the stuff they're doing they think is cool. If you want to join in the fun of the live show, like Laura did for the first time, and Ryurk. I'm not sure, we haven't actually heard from Ryurk, but she appears to be in the chat room. But anyway, Laura's been having a good time, and Sandy was welcoming her in there. But anyway, if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed. Yeah, Mike, I can do the I can do the ad lib thing, but not alone. I can do it with someone, just chatter back and forth and everything, but not alone. It's really hard alone. All right, Kevin, ears off again. Put the music in. Okay, Kevin, ears back on. Let's see, that's the wrong track. Those go down here. Okay, I'm going to just get rid of you. Too many tracks tonight. There we go. Let's hear how that sounds. For listening, and stay subscribed. Oh, put up my video. Yes. Hi. I've been gone, haven't I? Sorry about that. Good thing Steve's here to remind me that's why the wingman is here. Let's see. Wait. Okay. Wait. What was I trying to do? I was trying to figure out how the sound was going there at the end. Let me see. Anyways, thanks for listening, and stay subscribed. Yeah, that was too much gap at the end of that. Oh, what did you teach, Sandy? Did you get to retire? Let's see. For listening, and stay subscribed. Hi, Sandy. That was funny. There you are. Man, that's a tiny little scrollballer this week. Look at the size of that cute little thing. Okay, Kevin, ears off. I think Kevin went off and is doing something else. He's not mouthing off as much as usual. He's usually a little more mouthy. Okay, let's see. Get rid of you because I can't see what I'm doing. Deselect the bottom track. Now nobody's getting to see my brilliance here of how I make this. What is? Oh, this is. I keep hearing this. Zzz, zzz. I just figure out what it is. It's this thing hitting my zipper. It's going. Zzz, zzz, zzz. I kept thinking it was in the audio. Let's see. 2014, and this is show number 501. I was thinking about all. Oh, I have a funny story for you. So when I took French class in high school, I was an A student. I had no trouble at all. A second. This is show number 501. There you go. I had no trouble at all in class. I was an A student. I did great. I had no trouble at all. And I switched French teachers. And my original French teacher never did dictation, but my new French teacher did. And so I went into the class the first day, and she gives us dictation. I'm like, how hard can this be? Because I'm amazing at French, so I'm really good. So I'm going to do it. So anyway, I'm flying along. I'm having no trouble at all keeping up with her. It's a piece of cake. It's working just great. I'm having no trouble at all. But every once in a while, she would say a word that she wouldn't give us enough time to write. And I was trying to figure out what was going on here. And she got my paper back, and she couldn't stop laughing. The word the main word I was having trouble spelling out as quickly as she was actually saying it was point d'exclamation. For those who don't speak French, or you probably figured it out anyway, that's exclamation point. So the rest of this class was going, and I was going point d'exclamation. And the other one was virgule, which I'm sure I'm mispronouncing, and probably the other one too, but it was comma. And I'm writing virgule, and everybody else is going click the pencil. So anyway, she thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, actually, I think Linda. I took French same time with Linda. I think it was a year behind Linda. But Linda, what was the name of our French teacher? I bet you remember. New York. Linda and I have been friends since 1972, I think. All right, good. I'm glad you guys like that. Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was quite enjoyable. It's good when you can entertain your teachers, right? That's cool. You got to retire, though. That's awesome. Oh, God, you got to retire early. You're only 66? Awesome. Oh, wow. You retired 15 years ago? You are my role model. Excellent. All right, well, we are exporting to disk, and it is 5:53. So I guess I am going to have to call this party to an end. I think Steve's making me some chicken tonight, so we should be good to go. Thank you for coming. Let's see. Did I say we are going to have a live show next week for sure? The 28th is going to be tricky because we're going to Fresno, then we got to go to Bakersfield, then we got to pick up the dogs at 4. Oof. I don't know. There might be a live show on the 28th. We'll see, but for sure, we will see you guys next week. And Laura, thank you so much for coming for the first time, and Sandy, our most recent new girl, and so much fun that you guys could come. I'm really glad you guys were here. So I am going to exit us out in reverse order, or actually I think I'm going to say goodbye to Alpha Geek Radio for anybody who is listening on Alpha Geek Radio. Goodbye! And let's see, next I'm going to kill the app. Yes, I want to save changes, but I know you're not going to save changes. Doesn't matter what I say to you. All right, goodbye to the app people. Goodbye, Kevin, if you're still there. Minecraft is calling. Goodbye. And goodbye to the live chat room for everybody who's watching on video. Goodbye. Have a safe week.